back at it again. XDN wins again. You know, one of the greatest albums ever made in music history, not just rap history, is Jay-Z's debut effort, Reasonable Doubt, 1996. And this what I found. This what I pulled up. Very blurry. I don't know if it looks blurry on your screen, but it's blurry on my screen. But what I pulled up out of the archives is the Source magazine's original review of Reasonable Doubt. The Source, when it actually mattered, when it was actually worth something, they gave this album 4 mics initially. Now, this is why reviews sometimes, you need to look at things a year later, 5 years later, 20 years later, and you get greater perspective, what have you. And that's something for Reasonable Doubt. Now, most people who actually know the history of hip hop music, they will say Reasonable Doubt is, top 2, top 5, top 10 rap albums ever. Clearly it is. It don't matter if you don't like Jay-Z. To me, this is top 3 rap albums ever made. This, Illmatic, and then, the other third one will probably be, I don't know, maybe Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full, maybe All Eyes on Me, maybe the Wu-Tang first 36 Chamber album, whatever. But to me, this album is definitely top 3 all time. And the Source magazine's original review is very interesting to see what they reviewed it at the time when this dropped, because at the time, Jay-Z was not big. He was not mainstream. He was not well known. He was not even a top rapper in New York. Some people knew him. This album, it got around more than it would have because he did have features from Biggie, who was the biggest rapper at the time. Mary J. Blige was like the biggest R&B singer at the time, so on and so forth. Now, Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt, presented by Rockefeller Records, produced by Clark Kent, DJ Premier, and Big Jazz, aka Jazz O. Hit the like button, share this video, subscribe to this channel. Now, the original writer of this article, it does not list them. I'm going to assume this is not Benzino's writing or Dave Mays. But in the 90s, when this magazine meant something, they did have a great staff that really knew hip hop. They knew the history of it. They knew what it looked like, what it felt like, what it's supposed to sound like. So this reviewer says, I remember Jay-Z from back in the days, say 88 or so. He hung with a New Jack MC named Jazz, who would be known as Big Jazz and Jazz O, the originators, who had a humorous little ditty called Hawaiian Sophie. Oh, when Tupac put that on the bomb first, Jay-Z of Hawaiian Sophie fame. Remember that video with the straight-haired girl dancing in the grass skirt? Who would have thought that the short kid with the high top, I almost said the hip-hop fade, the high top fade and a boombox would ever grow up to be an MC kingpin with a hit? With the release of his Rockefeller debut LP, Reasonable Doubt, Sean Carter, they put the government in 96, aka Jay-Z, moves from hip-hop sidekick to mafia-style frontman, blowing up the spot. Oh, that 90s phraseology, blowing up the spot. With vivid tales about the economic reality fueling what's left of contemporary ghetto politics. In terms of subject matter, Jay-Z isn't saying anything new, which is hysterical. Where's my drink? Jay-Z. Yeah, Meek Mill making them same sounds on that Diddy tape. Jay-Z isn't saying anything new. It's the same old criminal melodrama that you hear on so many rap LPs nowadays. Now, this is funny him saying this because this album was like groundbreaking, actually. Not at the time, but when you went back to it, because most people, they didn't know about this album. This album sold like 300,000 copies when it dropped. This album, it wasn't until after, not even during Hard Knock Life. After Hard Knock Life had success and did 5 million, and I think when people say Hard Knock Life did 5 million, I don't think it did 5 million in '98. I think it did like 3 million. I think it hit 5 million around like Blueprint. So I think a lot of Jay-Z's career, it seems like after certain successes, people went back. Because I never remembered Reasonable Doubt as a kid. I don't think I heard about Reasonable Doubt until like '01. Like Can't Knock the Hustle. I don't remember hearing that song in '96. I think I heard that song maybe the first time. I think I first heard that song like years later. It wasn't that big of an album. It did not sell a lot. It was not mainstream. It wasn't on the radio like that. It wasn't. In '96, '97, Jay-Z was not getting played like that. It was still Tupac getting played even after he's gone. Biggie was getting played. 97 was Puffy and Mace, and these people dominated. The Fugees, the score was on fire. Nas Phone Tap, that was getting played. Not Reasonable Doubt. This album became a classic years later. I think around Blueprint 2001 is when people started looking back at Reasonable Doubt was a great album. And then, it grew when they got to like the 10-year anniversary in '06. It grew all the way to now where it's seen as this is a 5 mic classic. So it's funny they say this, but it's also funny the part where it says it's the same old criminal melodrama that you hear from so many albums nowadays. Now, this time in '95, '96, this is that whole mafioso rap, Wu-Tang, we're the Wu-Tang Gambinos and Nas Escobar. This was a period where every rapper was like a mob member, cartel member. Tupac, which is funny, he made fun of like Nas, you seen too many movies. And, Tupac made fun of, why do rappers want to, change their name to Italians? But then he took the Machiavelli name, but then he's like, I'm not copying him, I'm taking it because they took from us, which I understand that logic. But this was an era where every rapper was claiming to be some kingpin, shot caller, mob boss. But the difference is they were making great music. It's not like nowadays, it's not like nowadays where people are copying everything and it's trash, it's soulless. No, back then, everyone might have tried to be John Gotti, but they were making great albums doing it. And it didn't come off as a fake facade. It came off as a theme of an album, not a fake act. But that's the difference between real hip hop and today's BS rap. Hit the like button. What is in this drink? Good Lord. God. Now, titles such as Friend or Foe, Politics as Usual. Politics as Usual might be the best Jay-Z song ever. To me, the two best Jay-Z songs is probably Politics as Usual or Regrets, both on this album. So it says titles such as Friend or Foe, Politics as Usual, and Can't Knock the Hustle, featuring Mary J. Blige on vocals, could have been on any number of hip-hop wannabe LPs. But what makes these tracks stand out here is the slick way Jay-Z flips lyrics. He flows like Camp Lo. He flows like Nas. He flows like AZ. He flows like he's conversing with you at a party or on the street. And this is the time when Jay-Z did completely change his sound, change his flow. He dropped the whole DOS effects, Iggity, the whole speed rap, multi-syllabic, 100 miles an hour flow. And he did the slower Nas, AZ, 95, 96 flow, the Camp Lo flow. And it worked for him very successfully. And his flow was conversational. Like a lot of Jay-Z rapping, like I mentioned Hard Knock Life, the title track of that album, the song Hard Knock Life, it sounds like he's talking to you, not rapping. So that became like his flow that he used until he started stealing like Young Chris and whoever else. But telling tales of male conquest or simple stories of street survival, which is funny because this album is based on people around Jay-Z. It's not based on his actual life. DeHaven, Calvin Klein, so on and so forth. His lyrics create cuttingly clever rhymes that ride bomb tracks, bomb, 90s, that ride bomb tracks, provided by Clark Kent, DJ Premier, Big Jazz, and others with with effortless perfection. In addition, Reasonable Doubt has guest spots filled by Brooklyn's finest, Biggie Smalls. Now, for some reason, the article cuts off here, but this was just to give you a taste of, when actual journalists actually reviewed albums, not this trash now where a bunch of groupies are telling you Kendrick Lamar is the best rapper ever. Not these groupies telling you you have to like who I like or you're hating. No, it wasn't that nonsense back then. This album is a classic. Now, they did re-review it later on and they gave it 5 mics, as it should be. But this is one of the most important albums in hip-hop history. It's one of the greatest albums in music history, period. So many rappers after this album copied this. And when I say copied, I don't mean the mafioso thing. No, the way they sampled, the rhyme patterns, the flows. This was influential for every real rapper that came out after it. And this is the album that, this is Jay-Z's greatest work. He never will top this. He never did top this. This is his greatest work ever. And he still doesn't own it. If I'm not mistaken, I think he owns part of it or something, or Dame owns it or whatever the case. And he's trying to get that. But this album is legendary, iconic, and monumental. With that said, I'm up out of here. Like the video, share the video. If you want to support the channel, you can donate to the Cash App. It's $XDN online. I'm up out of here. That is it.